Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our continuing coverage here of the Texas second annual Dogman and Cryptid conference right here in White Settlement. We are joined by Jesus Payan Jr. Most of you may know him from the television show Breaking Bad, but I also know him from Breaking Bigfoot, his amazing channel on YouTube. Not many people, I guess, who are familiar with Breaking Bad might not be familiar with the fact that you are heavily involved in the cryptid community and paranormal communities.
Yeah, those two worlds, they don't mix too often. It's really weird to me because, like people that watch the show Breaking Bad, they'll ask me about nothing but TV and movie stuff.
Yeah.
And then the people, they're like, the cryptid stuff, a lot of them never seen Breaking Bad.
Right.
Or any of my other stuff. I've done movies and TV and all kinds
absolutely.
of stuff. But it's like two completely separate worlds. And the only people that do seem to know about my weird stuff is when I'm filming and I get other actors and crew people, you know, in the was a faraway union, they'd be like, "Hey, is it true that you talk about Bigfoot and stuff?" Is it true? Can you tell me something?
Like all off comms. Seriously. And I mean, even folks like Rob Lowe, like he had the Lowe files with him and his son, and it's interesting to see so many celebrities coming out with that kind of stuff. How did you first come to the world of paranormal and Bigfoot research and looking into this?
I was kind of born into it. The first memories I have of just in general and being alive, I was about 3 years old, and we were stationed in the Air Force in England.
Oh, wow.
And we lived in this old house, this 200-year-old house that we were living in, 2-story, and I remember there being ghosts. And we had the old television sets that weighed about 1 million pounds. Yeah. And I was the remote. Yeah. You know.
Click clack.
Yeah. There was a UHF. There was
and hold the antenna like this so it doesn't wobble.
Exactly. So in the middle of the night, we would hear the TV turn on and the channels changing.
Wow.
And that takes a lot of effort.
That's a little bit, yeah.
You know, it's not just, the remote's battery.
Yeah, it's not like you got a sticky button on the remote or something, or the cat stepped on the remote.
And so me and my sister, I guess I was 3.5 turning 4. And that was my first memory of the UFOs. I had a long cigar-shaped UFO. My sister remembers it being green. I remember it being orange, and it coming down towards our window, and then we don't remember nothing. That was literally in 1980 December. 1980 December. That's when the Rendlesham Forest incident happened. We were just 1 hour away from it. Yep. My dad was working in the Air Force there, and so it was just interesting timing for everything that. And coincidental that we're seeing UFOs and being, visited at that same time. So that's really, really, I would say, what's opened the door that way. And then my mom, I couldn't speak very well until I was like 5, maybe. It was real strange. Okay. Kind of did the whole gibberish thing. Sure. But I could read at 4.
Yes.
Makes no sense to me now. But my mom had bought a book called Mysterious World by Arthur C. Clarke. Yeah. And that was my real introduction of this mysterious world. Yeah. There was a Bigfoot section, a UFO section, and Loch Ness Monster section. Yeah. And that same year, while I was 4, we traveled to Scotland for 2 weeks and went to the Loch and spent 2 weeks on the Loch hunting Nessie. And we didn't find Nessie, unfortunately, so we scooped up water from the lake, and we figured we had Nessie poo in there. Yeah. So technically, we got some Nessie.
Yeah, exactly. You have genetic material in that water.
Yep. So that's what opened, I guess, my entry into that. But I didn't know that was weird stuff. I didn't know that was normal.
Yeah, exactly. And good for your parents for being open-minded and letting you explore those topics. I regularly talk about, I grew up in a pretty Catholic household, and I think my mom was happy I was reading.
Right.
Period. It was either lasers or books on like amulets and werewolves and, you know, like voodoo, things like that I was bringing home in 7th grade. Like my brother would go get like the latest Dinar Koontz novel at the library, and that's what I would come home with, was things like that. And yeah, once again, I think it was just the fact that, well, he's reading something. Good for him.
You know how like in elementary they had the book fairs?
So, oh yeah, Scholastic Book Fair, man.
Anything that was UFO, Bigfoot, or anything like that, I had to have it.
Same,
you know?
same. And yeah, for me, early in life, it became an obsession of wanting to know about it. It was just fascinating. How did things? Was your family accepting of the experiences? Were you the only one that had experiences in your house as a kid?
Well, my sister did experience stuff. Like when we were in England, she wouldn't sleep in her room. Because I think that was more of the ghost side of stuff. The room wouldn't, no matter how high we turned up the furnace or whatever, her room would stay frozen. So she would come to my room instead and stay with me. And, you know, we would hear the ghosts walking up downstairs and weird stuff at night. And a lot of it I confused as growing up, thinking it was all ghost stuff. But I think some of it was actually abduction scenarios happening, like the blankets being pulled off our bed.
Oh, wow.
From our feet, weird things in the corner staring at us at night. Of course, we were like, didn't want to look. But it continued to happen as I got older, and I realized it was big, black, almond-shaped eyes. And those little funny guys. But, she experienced it just to a certain point, and then as we grew older, we kind of grew apart. I was the nerd little brother, and she was the older sister, and society kind of took over, you know, the whole thought process, and stay away from his and my friends, get away. So we really didn't talk no more, you know, as just friends. So I had to continue experiencing all the weird by myself.
Oh, man.
My mom now, on the other hand, she experienced weird stuff as I grew up. She's been visited. She's seen grays, hybrids in the house.
Oh, wow.
Tons of UFO stuff we've seen together.
Is this something that because frequently, like we just were talking at the MUFON conference with many researchers, frequently this is a bloodline thing. Yeah. It's as though families get visited. Is this something that runs in your family? Do you have a connection to the paranormal within your family?
Yeah, I'm a weird ish magnet. So I started researching more and more, right, as I got older. And my grandma, she would tell me about how demons would come in the night, right? And I would be like, well, describe this, you know, what happened, you know?
Yeah.
Because I asked her one day, I said, Grandma, why are you, like, I called her a super Christian. Because she wasn't joking around. She used to, you know, raised Catholic, but later, you know, got saved as a Christian. And she told me, she told me that demons would come into her room at nighttime. Her husband, my grandfather, would be frozen. She said it was like he was turned off. Yeah. And, she would see the shape, whatever you want to call it, the demon, she said demonio, would come towards her bed, and it was blacker than black. She couldn't see it, but it was darker than the dark. And then it would grab her ankles and start pulling on her, and she would pray to Jesus, and in the next thing she would remember, it would be morning, she was safe, Jesus saved her, and that continued. And her mom, and we're Mayan Indian and Tarahumara Indian. Wow. And through those bloodlines, if you know, study ancient history,
there's a lot.
So it's been going on for a long,
just a little bit.
Yeah. My last name Payan is a Mayan for first ones. So we have a very, very, very old family.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So, cool. Yeah. One of the only paranormal experiences I have, which led to a big change for me, was the fact of I was actively grabbed by a shadow person. I had seen it in my home a couple of times before that, but it was the night where I woke up with night terror. I could not move. I was totally frozen, sleep paralysis, and there it was at the end of my bed grabbing me. It was one of the most frightening things that's ever happened to me. Ever, Jesus. It is wild. So whenever I hear about somebody who has had that, it always viscerally
I had
emotes inside of me.
a Hat Man if your listeners are out there.
Oh, yeah.
Hat Man. Excuse me. One night, it was at my parents' house. I was an adult already, and I had never had Hat Man experiences before. I'd seen shadow people, here and there, but one night, and like I said, since I'm a weird-ish magnet, it takes a lot to shock me now. You know, between the reality I've experienced as a bodyguard, bouncer, and living in the world of gangs and being shot and all kinds of cool stuff. Not cool, but
stay in school, kids.
Yeah, right. And so one night, I wake up and I'm standing in front of a Hat Man, right? And in an instant, I'm no longer in my room. We're now in imagine a desolate, hot, windy, desert scape, but with no plants, no trees, no nothing, just dustiness. There's a complete dark coverage of cloud over, no breaks in it anywhere, so it's like a blanket cloud over us. And I can see the Shadow Man is in a shadow. I can see actual features, as in body-wise. His face was just black and empty. There was nothing there in the face. The hat, he's wearing a lung duster, okay? A vest. There was a vest there. Wearing black gloves. Everything was leather. And it looked like it was all sewn together in pieces.
Yeah.
And I got the distinct feeling it was skin, human skin.
Oh.
And he had, on his vest, he had, it looked like hand-beaten throwing knives. You know, like he made them himself, right?
Yeah.
And they're steel. And 3 on each side. And I think it's a dream, you know? I'm thinking it's a dream. And I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, you're a strange one. Because I at the time, I didn't know what the hell a Hat Man was. This was a while back.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, and in a quick instant, he grabbed one of his knives, pulled it out, and tried to stab me in my rib cage. But I'm a trained professional, former officer, bodyguard. So just my instant reaction was to grab it, spin him around, and I went like that with the knife into his chin, where it would be. And as soon as the knife touched, quote unquote, touched him, he turned into a mist of black mist.
Oh, wow.
And I was back in my room. And I was like, that was strange. So I just went to sleep. Next morning, I get up, and my mom calls me, and she says, "Mijo, what did you do to your window?" I was like, "What do you mean? What did I do to my window?" She was like, "It's broken." I was like, "Huh? What are you talking about?" So I go back in my room, and sure enough, the curtains are all pushed through the window, broken.
Oh.
And my father, he was a carpenter as well, so he had made this really realistic house with tile, with the roofing tiles, and everything. But it was a birdhouse, but we hadn't put it up yet outside on a big pole and everything. So I had it in my room, sitting on one of those standing air conditioners, the nicer ones, they go to the window, the little tube and all that, and. It was no longer on there. It was stuck in the window with the curtain. So when this thing turned to mist and shot out, its mist, I guess, grabbed it's about a 45-pound birdhouse.
Yeah.
It's not light. Grabbed that with it and pulled it out the window with him. But it lodged in the window and shattered, broke the window and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah, so,
That's crazy.
Kind of weird for a dream.
Yeah. A little bit more than a dream.
Yeah,
a little bit more than a dream.
And when if you know the paranormal and ghost stuff, one of the things about evil is if they touch steel, they're not allowed to touch steel.
Yeah.
So I found that really intriguing that he had leather gloves on.
Yeah.
So that would make sense to me why he had them on, so he can touch his own weapon. Yeah. But the second it touched him.
Interesting. Yeah, because it's a purified metal because of the fact all the impurities have been taken out of it. Wow. That is really interesting. And how old were you when this happened?
When this happened, I was in my 20s already.
Oh, man.
You know, when I was way younger, I'd say, let's say 12, okay? From 8 to 12, I would go to bed, right? Wake up naked in the morning. Didn't understand why I always woke up naked. And my dad would tease me because he sometimes would come in my room and I'd have my hands over my crotch, naked, in fetal position.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "What's wrong, mijo? Are you afraid somebody's going to steal your candy? Your candy?"
Yeah.
And I had all these dreams of weird, strange dreams I couldn't explain, but I never put two and two together, you know? And then I would see UFOs all the time. Like, it was a normal thing for me. Hey, UFO, at nighttime, and had memories of UFOs until I would talk to my friends on base. You know, I lived on base all my life. I was a military brat. And I was like, "Hey, did you guys see that UFO?" And they look at me like, "What?"
What? Yeah.
UFO. And they'd be like, "Dude, you're crazy," you know? And then slowly learning that it wasn't normal what I was going through. And it never stopped. It continued on and on and on throughout my teenage years. And but I got more caught up in the angst of teenage, social drama and chasing girls and getting bullied.
What we all tend to do when we're teenagers.
Yeah, but none of the weird stuff stopped. Continued all through it, but I didn't pay attention to it because it was, again, normal to me.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
But yeah, Bigfoot didn't officially come into my realm until the year 2000. That's when it went beyond just researching through books.
Okay.
You know?
And was that through the means of a sighting that you had or an experience?
A sighting through just hearing it.
Okay.
I didn't see it. My mom had just got a job in the forest department in Ruidoso, and my sister had just got hired as a police officer in Ruidoso. And so we moved up to Ruidoso, got a cabin, and we just moved in, and we pull up to the house. We came from Walmart, pull up to the cabin, and we get out of the vehicle, and my sister's not living with us, but she was visiting, and we hear the craziest sound I had. The only way I could compare the sound to would be like if you ever slammed on your brakes when you're driving, on a highway or a street or whatever, and you hear the squeal, right? Yeah. But instead of just, it was,
wow,
times 3.
Man.
Longer, okay? That's as long as I can do it.
Yeah.
And as soon as that, stopped, every sound in the forest stopped. Every chirp, any sound, everything said nope and shut up, right? So me and my mom and my dad were all just looking at each other like, what the heck was that? We know that it's not a car skidding because we live in the top of the mountain and there's no straight streets to skid that long.
Yeah.
And we're just like, weird. And my mom looks at me and she like kind of words them out. Right? and I'm like, oh no. And then it does it again for this long, it's probably 30 seconds long, but that's long.
Oh, yeah.
When you really, think about it, 30 seconds is a long time. And I'm like freaked out. It's only the year 2000, so the internet's not huge yet, as in only so many people have the internet but at that time. So I run inside the house, I jump on the internet, get on the computer, I look up audio recordings of Sasquatches, and I find the same thing, right? So I run out, oh my God, that's a Bigfoot, right? And so I'm like, I'm like really, just like freaking out because I know about Bigfoot. I know that it's Bigfoot. I study this stuff. And because my mom worked at the forest department, she got to tell me about the reports that were coming in because they're not allowed to go check it out because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, they don't. We were talking about that with somebody earlier. You ain't finding a report.
Nope.
It ain't gonna happen.
Nope. So she would get to tell me though, hey, there was somebody reported in this area there was a sighting in this area. The rangers try to get the trash and clean up real quick, and get out of there because there's always something throwing rocks at them.
Yeah.
Campers will complain about weird noises in the middle of the night, their stuff being moved around and then put back.
Yeah.
and the rocks again with the rocks being thrown. So then my sister, She was a police officer, so same thing. People would call it, man, there's a big old giant so-and-so in the damn yard. And is it a person? No, it's a, sorry, we can't do nothing for you. You know, so they would tell me. So I got to start hearing where these areas were happening over and over. And I would do the investigations.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's what really got me into doing field investigations. Before that, I never even, thought about it too much. I didn't know what to look for. None of the stuff then,
Yeah.
So it was pretty much the introduction and the obsession. It became an obsession, learning about it, and trying to figure out a hypothesis of where they would be going, what they do to hide their tracks, and just different things like that. And it worked. And I figured out how to track them. I've learned how to track them now and recognize I can drive down a highway. If there's trees somewhere, I can drive down the street and I can tell you, oh, that's an area right there.
Wow.
Oh, that's an area right there. Oh,
wow.
That's a doorway. Oh, that's a...
So what led to you beginning Breaking Bigfoot? What led to you, I guess, really going public with your story, your experiences, and helping other people by talking with them?
I would say it was my nephew. Okay. I love my nephew, Andrew. He's a real smart, good kid. And I was the crazy uncle that liked weird stuff.
That's me too, buddy. We should hang out and go bowling.
Right? Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
I am the weirdo.
I love bowling.
Same.
So, he's lived in Florida, and he would only come down so often, to New Mexico. And he came one summer. He was about 16 years old, and he'd never been on a Bigfoot hunt before, And I was like, all right, I'm going to take you on a Bigfoot hunt. We're going on a Bigfoot hunt. You know what? Let's film it, and we'll do a documentary.
Yeah.
Never had filmed one before. And he was like, all right, cool, Uncle. And I was like, I have an idea where we should look. And I was like, I pinpointed, I'm pretty sure they're passing through this area. And I go, and if they are passing through this area, we should find something. Some kind of something.
Yeah.
But if not, then they're obviously not passing through there because I know everything. No. So we went and we started filming, and sure enough, we found footprints. And then at the end of it, interaction with Bigfoots, like 4 of them.
What?
And the bushes by us whistling back and forth to me. Like it was wild. So I made that, and that's what made me open. I already had my account to YouTube just because I watched YouTube, you know. But that was the first time I was like, "Oh, I need to post this." I actually had real evidence. You know, and so that's what started my YouTube channel. It wasn't called Breaking Bigfoot back then. And it's just, I kept on getting more dang evidence and getting deeper in the science of it. And having a, hypothesis, not, everybody's just theories, but hypotheses.
Yes, no, thank you for making that distinction. We make that distinction all the time on the show.
Right?
By all science, you're allowed to hypothesize anything you want. Yeah. Anything you want. That's science. Welcome to it, people.
Yep. Now you test it.
And then we get to a theory. Yep. Yes, exactly. Thank you.
So, I started having so much evidence that I was like, man, I might as well just put it on my channel.
Yeah, you got to put it out there.
Yeah, and then I started, at this time I already had started acting. So I was trying to...
So this came before... your Breaking Bad stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You became Breaking Bigfoot, but you started posting your Bigfoot stuff.
A little bit before, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I was not aware of that.
So it wasn't until Breaking Bad happened that I named it Breaking Bigfoot.
Okay.
Right? And because like I said, that was... my coworkers were all talking about it, and hey, can we see it? Can we see it? And I was like, I'll put it on my YouTube or something, Did
y'all have like YouTube watch parties with the
they would
with the cast afterward? Oh man,
And so and then becoming an actor and started paying attention to what views are, and you got to have a channel name.
You got to have proper branding and marketing.
So I was like, cool, maybe I could do the YouTube thing, That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And then I realized that unless it's I'd say the ghost paranormal stuff is more popular on YouTube. subscriber-wise
Sure,
and
sure.
views-wise.
Sure.
You know, like Nuke's top 5 and,
Yeah.
you know, all these different things. Bigfoot, still the numbers are real low, I think. You know,
Across the board, I would say,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you know? So I never was, like, striving for, you know, I was already famous.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I wasn't like, this is going to do it for me. No,
Yeah, this is going to be my big break.
Yeah, so this was more, I want to present my evidence. That's it. It wasn't, you know, I wasn't like worried about sending it everywhere and people everywhere. It's just, hey, if somebody comes upon it, cool. And that wasn't until I started doing podcasts did I get more, you know, people going to my channel and being requested going NVTV, Sasquatch, you know, case files and all the other ones that I've been on.
Oh, yeah, especially once you have representation and you're in the loop and you're in the circle.
Yeah.
You know,
You know, doing that, and then I started getting invited by other researchers to go research with them, and it just flipped and flapped. And before I got known for Bigfoot, though, I was more known for UFOs because that never stopped. And I'd say when I was 24, which was 24 years ago, so it was a while back, I was having visitations in broad daylight. It used to be just at night, freaky thing in the corner staring at me, them grabbing my ankles and whatever, and I pass out, have some weird memories of, you know, being in bright rooms and being shown weird things and medical stuff. And I had one memory of being brought back, and I'm outside, it's dawn, I'd say dawn, and I'm looking up and there's 3 UFOs floating above me that just dropped me off, and underneath them it looked like I wouldn't say hieroglyphs, but they were symbols underneath them, and they were going hot pink, and the UFOs went wee wee wee, and then next thing I know I'm in my room. You know, I have a memory of when they came to get me, and it was like I guess like Pavlov's dog, is that what it's called?
Sure, yeah.
You know, and here
Where you respond, yeah.
and I just stand up, you know, okay, and I could see, literally, which made no sense. I could see right outside my window, like the edge of the UFO right there at my window on the ground, which made no sense because I had a clothesline poles and clotheslines right there. So it's like, how is it sitting there without crushing the poles,
destroying our stuff?
Yeah. And then I just like knew. I wasn't like, well, how am I supposed to get out there? I got to go outside, walk around, and go out the door. No, I just walked through the wall. And then I woke up in the morning. I'm back in my room.
Wow.
And so that was how it was happening. And so that's when I was telling you about D. Greg from MUFON. My sister and my mom were traveling to Albuquerque. They were driving through White Sands Missile Range towards Socorro when they saw a fighter jet chasing UFOs. Just fly over it. And the only thing was there was like 7 other cars on the highway, and everyone pulled over because it was still visible. There was 2 jets, chasing some UFOs.
Wow.
And they all got out, and everybody was like, holy crap, And my mom, since my sister's former ex-military and police officers, they're got to report it. So
Good for her.
right?
Good for her.
She called, the Air Force, like, hey, is this you guys? We're over here, and they directed her to MUFON.
Yeah.
So she got a hold of MUFON. They made the report. She met this investigator D. Greg, and he was, that's amazing, sighting you had, and there's other people saw it, and does this happen often? And they said, yeah, we see UFOs here every so often. And my sister told him, she goes, but if you want to hear some real weird stuff, you should talk to my brother, right?
Wow.
So I get a phone call from D, and he says he wants to interview me. And I was like, sure. So we meet up at a little diner, and we sit down, and I tell him everything, right? And towards the end of the 4-hour interview, I'm telling him that if I talk about them for hours on end with somebody, I usually see a UFO by the end of the night, or get visited by them by the end of the night, or in the rare instances, they literally show up.
Yeah. In the middle of you talking about them.
Yeah. And, they're poking around their heads and looking around corners and whatnot. That was the thing, though. Go ahead.
No, please finish.
When I said that, so he said, he looked at me, and he's an elderly gentleman, but he was probably 80 years old at the time. And he looks at me, he goes, so you're telling me if you just talk about them, they show up? And I was like, yeah, not all the time.
Yeah.
He was like, the abductions were fine, everything else was fine. But at that point, he was like, well,
I gotta go.
Yep, he's like, that should do it. He's like,
I gotta see a man about a goat.
You go take care now. I was like, wow, whatever.
Yeah.
So that evening, me and my mom, we go get some burgers, local burger joint, and we're heading back home, and okay, I'm sorry. We're heading back home, and we're facing the west over the Guadalupe Mountains, which would be on the other side of the mountains, Las Cruces. My side's Alamogordo, Tularosa area.
Okay.
And we see an orange light in the sky, kind of peachy orangey color in the shape of an oval on its side. And my mom goes, hey, she goes, that kind of looks like what me and April saw. She goes, but there was two of them. And as soon as she said that, bloop, turned to two. And we're like, oh, and then
Interesting.
Bloop, three. And I pull the car over, and I get on my phone. I'm like, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. I'm calling D. Greg.
Yeah.
I'm calling him, and I'm like, hello. And his wife, I just, how can I help you? And I was like, I need to speak to D. Greg. And she's like, oh, honey, he's resting. He's very tired.
Yeah.
It's been a long day for him. And I go, ma'am, it's a UFO emergency. And she was like, oh, dear, Greg, get over here. It's a UFO emergency. He gets on the phone. He's like, what's going on? I was like, it's me. It's Jesus. Right? I go, what's happening right now, man? There's 4 of them now. Now there's 6 of them now. Now they're all the way to like 12 in a row. Just, right?
Wow.
And he's like, are you taking pictures? I was like, no, I'm on the phone with you.
Yeah, I'm busy talking to you.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they all turn off, right? So he was like, well, next time try to take pictures.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so I won't call you, take pictures, then call you.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Got it, right? Yeah. So a few days pass. I'd say about a week passes. And I get a phone call from him. And he goes, I just wanted to call you and let you know that I believe your story. And I was, so you're saying that you didn't?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the heck, And I go, so what changed your mind, Mr. D? And he goes, well, we had a report out of Las Cruces from a woman, and we cross-checked the heck out of it. You guys don't know each other. She reported the exact thing you described while we were on the phone. She had seen the same thing.
Wow.
And I wanted to know if it would be okay if I put your story in my book I'm writing. And I was like, sure. But he refused to put our names. I told him, I don't care.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Don't bother me none. Right? But so he didn't. He called me Beta 1 and my mom Beta 3. And he put it down as the... the 4 generations of Mayan alien abductions.
Okay.
And so, excuse me, from there, 3 days later, I get a phone call. And I'm like, hello. And they're like, may I please speak to Mr. Jesus Payan? And I'm like, yeah, this is him. How can I help you? Well, this is Guy Carroll from Bigelow Aerospace. I'm an investigator for them. And we're just wondering down here if next time you're on one of those ships, if you could take a really good look at that propulsion compartment. And when you get back, try to sketch it out and email it to us, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
At this point, I had never heard of Bigelow. I thought I knew all the different agencies. And I was just like, okay, this is one of my friends messing with somebody that I know is messing with me that I haven't told that I'm being abducted.
Yeah.
But whatever. I was like, sure, bud. Okay, you take care now.
Yeah,
bye-bye.
yeah. Okay, bye.
Right? So it's bugging me, though. I'm like, I hadn't told nobody, though. I hadn't shared that much info with any people that know me that well.
Yeah.
Let me jump on the interweb, and tibbity-tibbity-tap. There's a website. It's probably a fake website. So I go to the website, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is a really, really good fake.
Yeah.
They're hiring. Straight. There's a contact number. There's offices, Huntington, Las Vegas. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call it. And I'm going to ask for that dude. And they're going to be like, no, sorry, no such person exists. So somebody knew that there was a website. And that's, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right? So I call it up, And the lady answers, hello, Big Aerospace, how can I help you? I was like, yeah, could you connect me with Guy Carroll?
Yeah.
And she was like, one moment, please. Click. Do.
Yeah.
Do. Click. Guy Carroll, how can I help you? And I was
Nice.
like, yeah, this is, Jesus. Didn't know what to say, And he goes, you got something for us? It's like, well, not exactly. I was all, but I have a whole bunch of missing time. You guys got any hypnotists?
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be something you guys would be interested in. He goes, no, just scientists here. He goes, but you see anything, let us know.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, bye-bye. And hung up, and I was just like, OMG.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah, so that's when I guess it became public. And when I realized that the agencies knew more than I realized, and then I was like, hold on, I was raised on Air Force bases all over the world, and I was at the same place as the Rendlesham incident when it happened, and I'm sure they're watching their airspace, and I got visited by UFOs constantly over on the bases. So, yeah, they probably know. So that's the UFO thing. And then I had UFO channels. Like I was the UFO expert for Mysteries at the Monument for the Socorro incident.
Yeah.
So I was known more for UFO stuff. But all of a sudden, when I got into Bigfoot, it kind of changed direction,
Yep.
But yeah, none of it's ever stopped.
Yeah.
Anywhere I go.
So, are you still currently experiencing abduction?
I believe so. But
Okay.
at one point, it got so intense for me that I asked them not to let me remember no more.
You're not the first I've heard from.
It's scary, and it's weird because they actually listen to you,
Yeah.
And it was getting really, really, really scary.
There is a really interesting system of consent
Oh yeah.
that is inside of there. Even the fact of when the shadow person grabbed your abuelita, and
She invoked Jesus.
when she invoked that name and started praying, that revoked her consent
Yep.
at that moment.
Yep.
And it's funny how it stopped.
Yep.
Because as soon as you revoke your consent, things change.
Oh, yeah.
Are you? Have you ever felt any enmity in any of your experiences? I'm sure many of them have been more than frightening, especially if they were instances where you woke up and you were in them, or
I had
things like that. But
nothing ever that seemed too bad and scary, evil.
yeah,
But I do have memories of being visited by multiple different types
okay,
of beings, but just one time each. As in, the constant visitation was by the little gray guys. That was the normal ones for me. But I got to see a different group of gray guys one time. The normal ones I would see, would be the big black almond eyes.
The small drones.
Yeah, the 3-footer, 4-footers.
The ones you hear about that have no emotion.
That's where I got you different on. Okay, so those are the ones that they have the pointy chin, wider, big head, bulbous head. This time I got visited by, they were gray, but they were really dark gray. They were slightly taller, wearing black, look like diving suits.
Yeah.
And their heads were more oval, but laying down oval, landscape.
Yeah.
Horizontal shaped heads with more rounded eyes, still black, but more rounded, not almondy, is almond.
Sure.
And then another group that visited me, this is the weird one. I haven't heard anybody else mention these guys, but you're familiar with the Easter Island heads, right?
Yes. Yeah, the Moai.
Yes, the Moais. And I'm part Oceanian.
Oh, wow.
So I think there's something in that too. But I wake up, or I come to, or however you want to look at it, I'm surrounded by, I would say at most 6 of these giant Moai, real ones though, not stones. And I would say they would look about, now that I'm I can imagine in my head how tall. I'd say about 15 feet ish.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And they looked ancient. Their skin was just leathery and like kind of hangy, droopy, old skin. You know, big giant ears with real low hanging earlobes, and they were talking to each other. I hear, and it sounded like super duper low, ridiculous. Yeah. And they were having me do physical acts like push-ups and squats and roll, like flip over. They're having me do weird things, and I was like, fat. I'll just say it. I was fat. And one of them said, "I can't believe he's able to do these things in the condition that he's in." And I stopped and I looked up and I was like, "Well, that's rude."
Yeah.
And
that's some mouth you got on you.
Yeah, kiss your mother with that mouth.
Exactly.
And as soon as it was like they realized that I could understand them, I got turned off. It was like they said, "Oh, he's aware."
Interesting.
And I came back home, and I was back at the house. But the little guys, like you were saying, the drone dude, the little guys, they seemed more. These ones were like playful and little boogers. That's why I call them little boogers, because they liked messing with me and they thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I thought I was being. I was I just say ignorant in the thought. One was kept on showing up in my room, and it was staring at me from the corner. It was a single wide trailer, and normally, I guess the way they're set up, they had the closet that protruded, and then the space between the closet and the wall would be for a dresser, but there was no dresser there. So it was, it'd stand in the corner, and it'd watch me, and then I'd be paralyzed too. I couldn't move, so I'm just seeing it there. Oh my God, they're here. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. So I thought I was slick, and I went and got some material from Walmart, and I made a curtain. I was like, now you can't watch me because there's a curtain there now. You're stuck in the corner, And it made it only worse because now I got to see the little fingers grab the curtain and pull it apart and stare at me.
Oh.
Yeah. And then another one would pop up at the foot of my bed and would get my blanket and pull it down slowly, and I'd fight with it back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah, and then blackout, and then wake up naked. So this is. I have never said this on any podcast. I'm gonna tell you right now. At this point, I gotta tell. I gotta say it, because if I start excluding parts because of my worry about how I'm gonna be taken, to me that's almost like being a hoaxer. I'm lying.
You're telling a half truth.
Yeah,
you're telling a half truth. And if there's some way that you can warn somebody against a trauma that they may experience in their experience, good for you.
So this is probably not so traumatic. More, I don't know, Cheech and Chong-ish. Okay. I'm a medical marijuana patient, and been for a long time.
Same.
And
long before there was a law for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And, before I knew I had a medical problem. So one day I'm in Las Cruces, and still seeing UFOs constantly. It's like the year 2000-ish. This is right after all that experience in the room with the pulling the blankets and then putting up the curtain. There's way more to that story, but I was living on Vulcan Street.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
So I moved to Las Cruces to help a family, take over their kids, get power of attorneys. I'm daddy now. I get 3 of the children off to schools and, doing good. There's only one youngster left. He was about 17. And, things were bad money-wise now. And our electricity had been shut off. And it's summertime. And I would tell the local kids around the neighborhood, little trailer, court we lived in, they called me the UFO guy, because we would sit outside. We had no electricity, so no air conditioning, so we'd be outside just chilling in the front yard, smoking on some J's, and the kids would come and I'd tell them about UFOs and aliens and stuff. So I was the UFO guy. So one day we hear bang, 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 bang on the door, right? It's about 4:00-ish in the afternoon. And they're yelling, UFO guy, right? And I'm like, here we go. These little buggers want.
Yeah.
So me and Anthony go to the door, I open it up, and there's like 5 kids there, and they're like, there's a UFO over your house. There's a UFO over your house. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, all right, kids.
Get out of here, you know? And then I look over them, and all their parents are standing in the middle of the street looking over my house. It's like, crap. And I lean out, and I look, and I look, and there's a big white disc over my house.
Wow.
And as soon as I stick it back out again and look at it, it goes, boom, shoots over to the mountain range, the Guadalupe Mountains, and then turns into 3 white ones. Well, they was already white, but turned into 3 like this.
Yeah.
3 dots. And just starts spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And, so these youngsters that I had taken over for, they didn't understand that their mom didn't want them no more. And they thought because I was there, that was preventing them from their mom coming back home. So they set up this whole thing to get rid of me, rob my boss's house.
Oh, God.
Wearing my boots. I wear size 16 shoes. It's a very unique size.
I know your pain.
You know?
I fully know your pain, my friend. Yeah.
So, I get arrested. Luckily, I come from a law enforcement family, and I know procedures, and I know I didn't do it. So, you know, I had to use a little reverse psychology, and I told the officers investigating, I was like, y'all are stupid, man. I was like, y'all probably didn't even do any fingerprinting, huh?
Yeah.
We got your footprints. And I was like, well, because I know Bigfoot, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And stride and how that works. And I was okay, you got my footprints. And I was like, how tall was the person wearing them? What do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to explain it to him. And my uncle, he's a sheriff in El Paso, Texas, and my other uncle was 911 for that area. And we came to the police station and everything, and sure enough, they went and finally did what they're supposed to do and checked for fingerprints, and they found out that the guy that was wearing those shoes was 5'3". I'm not 5'3".
Yeah. And
those fingerprints were not mine. So somebody else got to go to jail, not me. And my uncle, he had told me I had called him. This was this is before when I saw the UFO over the roof and everything. And I called him up a couple days later because I saw at my boss's house a newspaper. And on the newspaper, on the left side column, it said, Air Force says UFOs scare only weather balloons. Again, just really, come on. The oldest one in the book, you know? And he had kept that newspaper because it turned out his father had just been arrested for narcotics, something. It was front page news, right? Yeah. So I call up my uncle because he was a 911 operator in El Paso. So I was like, hey, uncle, I go, because I didn't want to coerce him to say something about UFOs. I didn't want to say, UFOs. So I just said, hey, uncle, did you get any weird calls these last few days? You know?
Any strange reports?
Yeah. And he goes, that's so strange. I was like, why? He goes, because I specifically was going to tell you about, you know, what happened. He goes, and I just can't. Weird. I didn't even think about it till you said that. And I was like, well, what happened? He goes, all 911 lines in El Paso, Anthony, Texas, and Las Cruces were jammed with UFO reports. And he started describing.
Interesting.
What?
Yeah.
And that night that happened, we got visited and they came in the house. And
that is why I will always say, make a report.
Right?
Make a report. I don't care if you really don't like what MUFON does. Make a report.
Right.
If anything, your report may help confirm somebody else's sighting.
Exactly. And the reason why I tell you that whole backstory is because me and my friend, when they came in that night, later that night, we had a water pipe, we'll call it, a double barrel, plastic one, and it has the bowl in the middle. And we were, like I said, had no money. Things were really, really bad, and we're like, man, we're gonna scrape the bong. Got to scrape. You know what I mean? We had nothing.
Got to handle business.
Yeah. So in the middle of the night, you know, all the weird stuff's happening. We're outside freaking out because there's flashings of light and there's little weird things running around in our trailer, and we're like, what the hell, man? So I finally get brave and I get a newspaper, roll it up, wet the bottom half, put some gasoline on the tip, and I was like, we're going in. I can't take this no more. I need to scrape that bong and get a hit. I'm freaking out. You know, we got freaking UFOs and everything going on. And so we go inside and we're looking around, you know, with the flame, and walk up to where we keep the bong. We had it on the plant stand with them wooden black ones that look like a pyramid shape. And that was our, you know, prize, you know, living room piece. And it was gone. It wasn't there. We're like, what the heck, man? I know it was there when we ran out just, you know, about 3 hours ago. It was there. So the door slams in the house. We run back outside, and we locked ourselves in my car. The battery was dead, transmission gone, so we can't go nowhere. Can't roll down the windows. Morning eventually comes, and it's Las Cruces, so it's really hot, right? And I don't feel the heebie-jeebie feeling no more. I think they're gone. So we go back to the door. Nobody can come in the house except for through that front door. The back door, it was duct taped shut. I mean, fire hazard all day because the lock was broken. So duct tape the crap out of it. So we go back in the house, you know, we stick our heads and look around. We're not going in to look for this piece. We're just going in to see if they're gone. Yeah. I walk into the living room, and it's back. It's back on the plant holder stand.
Whoa!
Right, and we walk up to it. We're just looking at it like, what the heck? It has water in it now. Right? We're like, oh, heck no. And it has a loaded bowl. I'm not being funny here, okay? This is serious. So we look at the bowl, and you know a laser pointer? Okay. Remember, this is year 2000. What it looks like is if you had a laser pointer that actually was a hot laser.
A burning laser.
And somebody went just once, perfect white ash down the middle of it. Everything else was fresh still, not tinged, and it was the brightest green you've ever seen in your life, right? So we had to test it, and it was real, and it was the best I've ever experienced. And now we're going to jump forward to when they set me up for the robbery. Yeah. And while I was 3 days in jail, they robbed me. So when I got out of jail, the house I was in was empty. They took everything. I'm talking shower curtains, air conditioner, toilet paper, everything. Except my books. That's all I had left was my books in my little room where I would sit down, light a stick of Nag Champa incense, light one up, and read and just listen to some reggae or some classical music and just fall into my world. Yeah. So now all I have now is the books. And I call my mom and I'm telling her what's going on. I'm depressed. I'm upset, you know, because the whole thing I was there was to help them, you know, and so I was really upset. And she was, well, mijo, she was, all I can suggest was, she was clean the house. I was like, there's nothing here to clean. She was, that's besides the point, because they left my books and cleaning products. So she was all mop, sweep, whatever.
Take your mind off of it.
Yeah, you know, and I was like, okay, Ma. So I do it. I clean and sweep and Clorox and Comet the kitchen counters, and I finally finish, and I sit down, and I'm like, nope, didn't work. Yeah. I'm still really upset.
Still square in my mind.
Yeah, so I go to my little room, and I sit there, and I look at my books, and I'm like, well, I got my books. So I sit down, just looking at a book, but not wanting to read it at the same time, because I don't have my Nag Champa incense, and I don't have my special stuff. And then I hear a voice in my head, and it says, look on the counter. I'm like, look on the counter? Why would I look on the damn counter? I just scrubbed the hell out of that counter. I'm upset. I'm like, whatever, I'll go look. So I get up, I walk to the kitchen, and on the counter is a little mini joint, little baby one, with one hit taken out of it. And next to it is a miniature stick of Nag Champa incense. They don't make miniature sticks. Yeah. It's one size.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it wasn't really surprising besides, hey, that was really cool with him. I thought,
appreciate it, guys.
It happened one time before. So it wasn't a big, like, no way, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I just got that, got my little stick, went into my room, got my books,
did your thing.
Yeah. So the fact that they cared enough about me to, I don't know how they made it. They have their own or what.
Yeah.
But to create that for me and a miniature version of this thing that I really love, and I was really upset to do that. I just think is, says a whole lot more than the usual roboticness of many abductions and different things.
Yeah.
And I've met one person. I can't say who it is unless we're off this. Just once I tell you, understand completely.
Sure.
Okay. But I saw somebody while I was up there. It's in the book, D. Gragg's book, a simple explanation of extraterrestrials and alien beings. It's been a while since I thought about the book, but it's in there. What happened? And I go up there. There's a girl. They bring me to this room. There's no doorways, no nothing. It's all white, glowing and stuff. And they walk in. I'm nude and visibly happy. I'll just say. And they walk this girl in, a redhead girl, and she's also nude and. They turn her around. She leans over, and they kind of like present her, kinda, and just telling me to do that. So it wasn't a sexual thing whatsoever. It was just I moved forward. It was over.
Whoa.
Pulled away.
Whoa.
She walked away. I got taken back home. Okay. Later in life, because this was when I was probably it was in my teens when that happened. And not many years later, I get a friend request on Facebook. And I'm like, man, that looks like that girl. Whoa. But obviously it's not that girl. It just happens to look like that girl, right?
Yeah.
And I accept the friend request, and, we message a couple times back and forth. And her dad's into UFOs, and she's into UFOs. She says, I see that you're into UFOs. And I was like, yeah, you could say that. And we become friends. Nothing, like she has a husband. And it was nothing sexual. And I tell her one day, I write her and I go, hey, this might sound a little weird because, how do you open?
Yeah.
There was just one time.
I think we had UFO sex.
Yeah, you know. So
I think we were bred together.
Right? And I go, I know you sent me a friend request. I go, but I'm pretty sure that we've met before and not down here. That's how
Yeah.
Without saying too much, right? And she wrote back, yeah, I remember it too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, with all of these things that have happened to you in your life, with all of these experiences that you've had, what advice would you give a first-time experiencer as we wrap this up? What advice would you give to the person that is experiencing any of this paranormal for the first time?
I would say not take it with a grain of salt, but know that if they meant harm to you, it would have happened.
Yeah, you would have been harmed.
You would have been harmed.
Yeah.
If it does turn bad, ask them to stop, because sometimes they will. And if not, then I would say invoke whatever religion you may belong to.
Yeah.
And then ask for help, and that also can change things. But don't lose it. There's people out there that understand, that been through it, that you can talk to, you can reach out to. Communion was a huge thing for me, that book.
Yep.
That book, Whitley Strieber. I ended up being friends with him and his wife, and then, when Ann passed, that was real sad. But yeah, don't, the world's not going to end on you. And I know it's scary, but it will be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Amazing experiences, and what a path to go down in life with your experiences, to go out there and help people and share them and talk with other folks.
I'll just say them, is how I got into the film industry. Remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Oh, yeah.
Sherry Rhodes was the casting director for that movie. And I ended up where it actually happened on Holloman Air Force Base. I was stationed 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And she's the one that discovered me.
Wow. There you have it. Man, let everybody know where they can go to follow Breaking Bigfoot, where they can go to follow all your work, everything else, man.
Breaking Bigfoot is on YouTube. You'll see a picture of a Bigfoot with my face as the icon. Please subscribe. If you've seen my TV shows or movies, I'll just throw a couple out there for you to go check out. If you haven't, you got Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, the movie Two Guns with Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington. If you like John Cena, you can see me get beat up by him in The Reunion. If you like Steven Seagal, you can see me beat up by him in Urban Justice.
Did he break your arm?
Almost. He gave me a bloody lip in real life.
Okay,
I got to fight him at his hotel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
real fight.
Yeah, we beat the crap out of each other.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty cool.
That's hot. That's awesome. That's wicked
me.
cool. Hey, Seuss, thank you so much for the time, man. I appreciate it. I'd love to have you on again and again to talk about these experiences that not only you've had, but the people have come and shared with you, because through sharing these stories, we get to help other experiencers come out with their stories. So, thank you so much. I appreciate it. While you were online checking out all of the amazing work of Jesus Payan Jr., everybody, make sure to stop on by CuriousRealm.com. That is where you can find all the episodes. That's where you can find all of our live event coverage from great events like the second annual Dogman and Cryptid conference. I looked over and saw Bigfoot, and Bigfoot hit my head. So stay tuned after this, folks. We will be coming back with our continuing coverage right after this.